Hello, my name is Steve, the Affordable Life Coach. Email is in the description. Life changing. Today we're going to talk about a term that has a bunch of different names. Some people call it radical honesty, radical candor, extreme honesty, radical communication, um, brutal honesty. That's another one. And all of those have negative connotations like, oh my gosh, I have to be radical in my communication, which is crazy because why is being honest and truthful about how you really feel radical? Well, it's radical because most people, majority of people, don't do it. Majority of people have superficial, safe, comfortable, shallow conversations and will talk behind people's back and won't tell them how they truly feel. And this goes in all areas with family, friends, at the workplace, maybe even with clients. And one thing I pride myself on is in coaching, I care about my clients and I want to develop an authentic, real relationship where they're going to get value from the coaching. And if I'm not honest with them, they're I'm being selfish. I'm avoiding uncomfortable conversations or them possibly canceling coaching or them getting really upset with me, which is all of these things have happened. But for me, the gain is much greater than the cost. And I hope for you that that will be something, a shift in your perspective in the way that you walk through the world and communicate with people. We're just cowards in our communication. Generally, we don't really say how we feel. We lie. We tell white lies. We mislead. We leave things out. We make false promises. We ghost people. We give them the cold shoulder. We avoid them. And it's doesn't make us feel, it's disgusting. It doesn't make us feel good about ourselves and it doesn't make other people feel good about us. But in the short run, it's safer, it's easier, it's more comfortable. And I wish people would stop saying in this era that that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that you say that. That hurts my feelings. That makes me feel judged. That makes me feel non-accepted. That language is aggressive. That language is discounting. That language makes me feel invalidated. Oh my gosh. This type of victimizing yourself shuts other people down so they don't tell you the truth. So they're just going to be superficial and shallow and tell you what you want to hear. And is that what you really want? Maybe it is what you want. But it's not a real relationship. It's not a real connection. And what we as human beings long for is connection. Some of my deepest, richest, most meaningful connections have come as a result of putting in time and energy and effort and discomfort, having uncomfortable conversations. And when the other person is on the same page as you will feel it brings you together. And when they're not on the same page of you talk about that and you tell them about the value of having real conversations. And what I'm realizing in coaching, I would say to my clients, practice being really honest, being real authentic. Tell your partner, tell your friend, tell your family member how you really feel. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And then I'll ask them, okay, what did you say? Well, I said this, and usually it's a sugar coated, watered down version of what they really feel. And a big part of why that is because we're not practiced at it. And we really need to spend time practicing it, getting skilled at it. And that's one thing I do in coaching sessions is we role play it. I give them the clients the tools, the ability, how to say it, what to say, And I call it not radical honesty, brutal honesty, because what people think that means is, if I don't like something you do, I'm going to tell you. I don't like that you forgot my birthday, and that was wrong, and that was inconsiderate, and I always remember your birthday, and you forgot my birthday, and that just means you don't care about me. That's not going to build a bridge and build a connection. Instead, you courageously communicate with them from a place of vulnerability. And what that looks like is, hey, I feel really hurt that almost every year you forget my birthday, and there's other areas in the friendship where I feel like I'm giving more, I'm remembering your birthday, I'm more thoughtful about the things you're going through. I listen to you when you're going through a struggle, and I feel don't feel that fully being reciprocated. And I wanted to address it to you so we can work it out and we can become closer. And I don't store this up inside and start pulling away in the friendship. And I want to see how we can resolve this. And then I tell my clients, be curious. Hey, do you feel that way? Have you noticed that? Oh, no, no. I think I'm a good friend to you. So, how do you feel about what I said to you? Do you see any truth to it? Well, yeah, that is true that I do forget your birthday on occasion. And that's because I'm just not, they'll make an excuse probably. Oh, I'm not good at remembering birthdays. And that's not it. It's that it's not a priority to them. And so then you start asking them why. Well, it's not a priority because to them because they, they don't think it's important to remember everyone's birthdays. It's not very meaningful. Or they will say, I feel like if I remember your birthday, I'm going to have to get you a gift, and I don't want to have that obligation. Or I feel like you pressure me to, calling you and making a big deal about your birthday. And so that's why I don't want to do it. Or really, the truth is, and if you're having a real honest conversation, maybe, they'll actually reciprocate and open up. Hey, you know what? Because I'm a little bit upset with you. I'm upset with you for these reasons, and then they go into why they pulled away from you or why they don't reciprocate. And then you have this beautiful conversation. And again, you might not, I think it's beautiful because it's uncomfortable, it's productive, and it's addressing the underlying concerns. But if we're thinking being radically or brutally honest is just saying whatever's on our mind, I don't like you did this, you look terrible, in that outfit, you're a bad friend, you hurt my feelings, and I don't want to hang out with you anymore. You said something that really offended me, and it shows you're a rude, inconsiderate person. That is not healthy communication, and it's definitely not courageous communication. Courageous communication is curious, inquisitive, and we're trying to figure out what's the underlying issues that create the friction in the relationship. And what most people do is they just focus on the symptoms. If you're in a relationship, a romantic relationship, and you're married, and you feel like you do a lot more of the work in the relationship, and your husband or your wife is not pulling his or her weight, you might focus on the symptom and say, well, you don't do this and you don't do that, and I do all the work, and that's not fair. But what you're really feeling is like, hey, I'm feeling like you're not realizing that when you give to me, when we give to each other, when we take care of each other, that makes me feel loved. And when there's the balance is out of whack, it makes me feel less valued, less appreciated, less that you care about me and how I feel. And that's probably not your intention, so I just want to talk about it and see what it is that you're feeling that has caused there to be an out of balance. It could be as simple as you're not setting boundaries with people. They're asking you, your partner's asking you to do things. You don't really want to do it, but you feel a sense of obligation, or you feel a sense of guilt and shame, or if you don't do it, or they might leave you, or they might love you less, or you might have grown up in a home where your self-worth and your love was taken away and given based on what you did and how you performed and what kind of grades you got and how much you helped around the house and how much you were there for your parent or a sibling. And then you learn it's all conditional. So if love is conditional, I have to do things in order to receive that love. They're not loving me for who I am, they're loving me for what I do, how I perform. And I see this with clients that their self-worth is tied to external superficial things. How good looking they are, how successful they are, how rich they are, what kind of material possessions, what their status is, how intelligent they appear. And so we live in a world where that's even fake, where people try to focus more energy on portraying an image to get the approval so that they temporarily feel loved at the sacrifice of developing depth, inner inner worth, inner value, and a deeper connection with themselves and with other people. And one of the things I tell clients, like, you're unfulfilled, your relationships are not satisfying you fully. Get out of the shallow part of the pool. Go, like, or at the beach, go swim further out of the ocean where there you can't feel the sand beneath your feet. Well, that's scary for some people. And so you got to do it slowly, and you got to be able to practice it and know how to do it. And it's not, it isn't easy, but it's not, it's so much harder living a fake life, because it creates stress, it creates anxiety, it creates tension, it creates worry, rumination, and you just don't feel good about yourself. And there's no greater act of love than to tell someone how you truly feel in a loving, vulnerable, gentle way. I'm not saying weak, passive, people pleasing, and I don't even buy that word either. I don't like that term either. People pleasing. It's you're being a coward when you people please. You're being fake. You're lying. It's a form of deception, people pleasing, and you're not pleasing them. You're doing it to please yourself, to get what you want from that person, whether it's approval, avoidance of conflicts. And I have clients that will say, "Oh, it's just too much work. I don't. I'm too lazy. I don't want to do that work. It takes too much effort. It's too challenging. It's too risky. It's too uncomfortable. I don't want to expose myself to their criticism of me." And I'm like, "What? Do you realize the short-term benefits? Okay, you avoid the confrontation, but do you realize the long-term pain, suffering, disconnection from self and others, feeling bad about yourself, not feeling that, hey, I am a valuable partner because I have honest communication? The long-term consequences of short-term thinking and saying I'm lazy or I'm too uncomfortable, you're deceiving yourself. What really runs most people's lives is they're fearful. And even that, you can be honest. Hey, I'm fearful of communicating with you honestly and telling you how I really feel, and let's talk about it. Let's see if we could find some solutions so we can better connect. And that is the foundation, that is the glue of relationships. I do a lot of couples coaching as well. And the common theme I see in relationships, in marriages that are on the verge of divorce or breaking up, is they don't talk to each other. Really, they don't really talk to each other. And I'll ask them, do you feel like you have good communication? And oftentimes, oh yeah, we communicate well, but it's shallow communication, and that's not real communication. And it's just fear. People might call it have all kinds of excuses. I'm lazy, or my partner's really defensive, or it wouldn't change at anything. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt and don't give up easily. Sometimes it takes a while for me to get clients to let down their wall and to feel capable to really just express how they feel. And it's a skill. It's like learning a new language. And the more you practice it, the better you get, and the better you feel about yourself, and the better the better quality and depth you have in your relationships. And once you do it, I was telling one of my clients today, once you start practicing this, it's smooth sailing. It's like being out at sea and the wind is carrying you to your destination. You're not constantly feeling like you have to fight against a current. And once people have the expectation that you're going to tell them the truth, you're going to be real with them, they are not going to have the same pushback. And the ones that don't want to hear the truth, you might want to question, do you want those types of friendships in your life? And it's not about quantity. It's not about winning approval. That's just a cheap, shallow value system. It's about living a life with integrity, keeping your word, telling people how you truly feel, not suppressing your emotions and feelings. And you can start small, because sometimes, people will say, well, I can, what do I do? I have a boss, or I have a coworker, or I have somebody that it's really risky if I were to do this. You start small. Or I'm just too afraid. Okay, start with something small and then build upon it. And if you want support, reach out. Give me an email and we will work on developing these skills and giving you a sense of confidence that you are capable of being real. And the most beautiful thing is when you start doing that, you start being honest with yourself. Because that's one of the biggest things I have to bring to clients' awareness is how often they deceive themselves. And if you're deceiving yourself, that's the first place to start, is correcting that and being honest and not believing your own BS, not believing your own self-deception and lies. And then it starts rippling out and you start being honest with other people. And it's just freeing. It's like a weight lifted off your shoulders. And for a lot of people, they'll respect you so much more. When you set, I deal with clients, male clients, and female clients, but specifically male clients tend to have this nice guy syndrome where they want to say yes, especially in the beginning stages of the relationship, or they're just feel like, oh, if I say no, she's going to lose interest in me. And it's the exact opposite. When you are a quote unquote people pleaser, again, it's just cowardly behavior, because you want to please them because you're getting something, short-term approval. You think that's the way they're going to love you or want to be with you. It's not the case. Women and men, they don't respect people pleasers. They don't respect people that tell them what they want to hear and say yes all the time. People respect others who set boundaries. And if they don't respect you setting boundaries, again, in a very confident, firm, but loving way, if people don't respect your boundaries, then you have to question, and your boundaries are reasonable, and you have to question, do I want them in my life? And that's as you start moving down this path, the road, and it really is the road less traveled. It's hard in the beginning, but I look at it as not hard is not the problem. It's looking at it as something to avoid. That's the problem. Looking at something that's so fearful and scary. That's the problem. And life becomes exciting. Life becomes adventurous. Your conversations become real. And I do this because I can't deal with small talk. It's just not something I'm good at. It's not something I want to be good at. It's not something I enjoy. And so what I do is when I'm meeting new people, is I tend to level jump, and I'll just go to the deep end and ask them more meaningful, real questions, or share how I truly feel, even if I know they might disapprove of. And I get pushback. People will, well, they'll be shocked. They'll be judgmental. They'll sometimes, okay, they'll end the conversation. That's okay. You're really looking for maybe 5%, 10% of the population that are going to want to connect on this level. And then people in your circle, they're going to be a higher percentage because they value, hopefully, they value your friendship. And when you present it in this positive way of, hey, courageous communication sets us free and really makes us have a much deeper, rewarding connection. If you're interested in coaching, send me an email in the description. Consultation is complimentary and it's ridiculously affordable afterwards. I've been doing this for now 15 years. And please like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And consider donating to the channel. There's a PayPal link in the description. And I read your comments and appreciate all of them. And I try to respond to all of them. And thank you all for your support. Bye-bye.